Well, Oxford fans, it's been a while since we can have a good moan. Hello everybody and welcome back to another review of this Oxford United season. Today, the U's were on the road in the land of the pies. They were away at Wigan Athletic. Oxford were of course pegged back late by Blackpool at the weekend, and it was a very disappointing, particularly second half performance from the Yellows. So we were hoping for something a little bit better today, but unfortunately we really did not get it. Oxford United draw a blank in League One since the opening day of the season, and like that game against Cambridge, it was the same scoreline because it finished Wigan Athletic 2, Oxford United 0. And let's just say congratulations to Wigan. Really good win for you guys. Congratulations to your supporters as well. I think deserved victory for Wigan overall. Looked more dangerous when they went forward, created better chances, ultimately won the game. We'll get into all of it. Shorter video than what I could normally do at the weekends, but I will have a look at the team news. I will give a match review and I will give my final thoughts. Please, if you can, hit a like on this video. That does help me out a lot. And if you do like the content as well, consider subscribing. So let's start with Oxford then. And Oxford, Manning kind of keeps us guessing with what the formation's going to be. It kind of was put down as a 3-4-2-1, but like on Saturday, it's got the option to change back into 4-2-3-1 like we've seen. Pretty much the same 11 as what we saw on Saturday as well. The only difference was Tyler Goodrum comes in for Billy Bodin, but Goodrum looks like he's going to play alongside Ruben Rodriguez, and those two are going to sit just behind Mark Harris. You still got Cameron Brannigan out with this illness. He's not been good enough to even make the matchday squad. So Josh McEachran continues in midfield alongside Marcus McGuane. Let's just say this one thing. Mark Harris up front, looking a little bit devoid of confidence, really needs a goal. Shaun Maloney's Latics, they may be 21st in the table. Obviously, they've jumped up a little bit now, but they did start the season, it's important to remember, with an 8-point deduction, although their recent form has not been great. The Pies did manage to get a 2-0 win away at Exeter at the weekend. That was their first win after 4 successive losses. And in that game, Shaun Maloney changed tactics as well. He went 3-4-3, but tonight he's kind of reverted back to what they normally play, which is 4-2-3-1. Is 3 changes to that side that beat Exeter at the weekend. Liam Shaw, Jordan Jones and Thello Asgard come into the side. Stephen Humphrys, real threat up front, but I would say luckily for Oxford, when you looked at that team sheet, Charlie Wyke, the Ticks top scorer this season, not even in the matchday squad. One name you may remember from Oxford's past in there is much maligned defender Sean Clare starts for Wigan at right back. So let's move into the game, and I think it's fair to say Oxford started this game well and then just kind of slowly got worse and more sloppy as the game went on. In the first 10 minutes of the game, Oxford in complete control in terms of possession. Wigan sitting really deep, really happy to just let Oxford United have the ball. Shockingly, it was Marcus McGuane who had Oxford's first shot on target. It was a shot from the edge of the box. It was a side-footed effort, really, and Tickle in the Wigan goal was able to parry away. Mark Harris got on the rebound, unable to do anything with it other than win a corner. 3 minutes later, Stan Mills goes close and he again forces Tickle into a save where he has to push it round the post. It all came from Tyler Goodrum with a neat little turn in midfield. He got away, got some space, gave it to Mills on that right-hand side. Stan Mills sort of cut in as the Wigan players backed off. It looked a little bit reminiscent of the goal he scored against Fleetwood, but this time the shot was nowhere near as good, and Tickle was able to push it for a corner. 17 minutes on the clock. Oxford very comfortable. You're smelling no danger at all. And then what happens? Wigan take the lead. That possession Oxford had meant absolutely nothing. But it was actually Wigan's turn to keep the ball for a while. They knocked it around at the back, and then all of a sudden they just upped the pace. A lovely little 1-2 between Asgard and Humphrys, and they were in. And Humphrys showed a fantastic turn of pace to get away from Greg Lee, get away from Kieran Brown, and he struck it home from just inside the box. Got it under Beadle. Beadle got hands on it or got something on it, but it ended up going through him and into the back of the net. Beadle could have done better, but there's a whole host of Oxford players that could have done better. But from a Wigan point of view, this is a really well-worked team goal, and they might have been against the run of play, but they were 1-0 up. But this Wigan side was well organised, and they defended incredibly well all night and denied Oxford United space. When Oxford did get little bits of space, they were able to get back and make amazing tackles like Jones did to deny Goodrum on 22 minutes. It was a really nice move from Oxford. It came from a brilliant ball out from the back from James Beadle. We've seen this do this before, where he kind of just takes the press out, and Marcus McGuane was able to get the ball and get motoring up the field. He gave it to Greg Lee. Greg Lee slipped a lovely ball across the penalty area. Goodrum looked like he was just about to arrive onto it, but Jones got there with a vital challenge. Horrible this game went on. As I said, the sloppier Oxford got, and it just seemed more and more like the Blackpool game, where there's some neat and tidy football, but when it gets into the final third, we just have not got that quality. And you saw misplaced passes. There was a chance between Harris and Rodriguez, where Harris did really nicely actually, but Rodriguez overhit the pass to try and get Mills in. Mills hit a long range shot, which again was an easy save for Tickle, and Oxford went in kind of frustrated at half time, but and certainly you would say probably didn't deserve to be 1-0 down at that point, but not really a huge amount of clear-cut chances created from Oxford, despite the fact that we've become used to them playing pretty neat and tidy football. Goodrum, Rodriguez and Harris, I thought, really struggled in the first half. They looked really off the pace for me, which was surprising for Rodriguez because he was really good in the Blackpool game. But Wigan did look dangerous. I thought they looked dangerous every time they got forward. Every time they were allowed the counter or break, they hit Oxford with so much pace and just a willingness to just get the ball and run. You don't see that very often. We haven't seen that from many sides, but it certainly put Oxford on the back foot, and they created a lot of chances from it. And some really neat play in there, the likes of Asgard, Godo, Jones. As I say, looked really threatening when they were able to get the ball and run at this Oxford back line. And Humphrys, probably the pick of all of them, and it was his goal separating the sides. And whilst you could say Wigan struggled to create chances in the first half, the second half, they were much the better side, and they were much the more dangerous side and looked the more likely to score a second goal pretty much all the way through it. I mean, maybe the first 5 minutes Oxford had some decent spells of possession. Rodriguez with a pretty grass cutter shot from 25 yards, which was straight at Tickle. But again, Wigan, whenever they seemed to break, they just seemed to find more space than Oxford United did. Jones got down Oxford's right, Wigan's left, put in a good cross. Asgard rose, unmarked in the box, got a header on it, should have done better because it was straight at James Beadle, and Oxford were all over the place at times when Wigan came forward. And 2 minutes after Asgard's header, Beadle was then forced into a fantastic save to keep it 1-0. Sessegnon, who got forward this time down the Wigan right, gave it into Godo, and Godo was in tons of space in the area and actually hit a good shot. You're just expecting it to nestle into the bottom corner, but Beadle at full stretch gets a hand on it and tips it wide. On 60 minutes, Oxford probably had maybe their best spell of the second half. Goodrum won a free kick right on the edge of the box. Rodriguez had a great chance to get a strike on target. We'll see what Wigan can do with an effort on from a similar position later on in the game, but this one hits the wall and goes from a corner, and then from that corner, Tickle probably had to make his best save of the game. He palms out the initial corner, but it comes to Marcus McGuane. He's a long way out, but it's good to see Marcus McGuane taking more shots in a game. This one was a good shot from McGuane, and McKickle had to get back and tip it again for a corner. Wigan counter-attack continued to cause Oxford problems. Again, it was Godo trying to get into the area, and Kieran Brown this time had to make a smart challenge to get back and make the tackle. As the time went on, it just felt more and more likely that Oxford were not going to score, as Billy Bowden smashed a ball miles over the bar. Then on 80 minutes, well, a few minutes before this, Alex Goran came on for Oxford. Really, really nice. Side note away from the game. Nice to see Alex Goran back on a professional football field. He had a horrible time with injury. I don't think many of us thought we'd ever see him play for Oxford again. So it is good to see that. But unfortunately for Goran, he gave away a free kick on the edge of the box and got a yellow card. That's not so uncommon for him to do. But it came from sloppy play from Oxford again. It was just losing the ball. Sam Long with a poor pass, aimless pass into midfield, which was picked off. Meant Wigan could break again. Goran has to bring a man down. Callum Lang stands over the ball. We saw Rodriguez with a similar effort hit the wall and go wide. But Callum Lang makes no mistake. Up and over the wall, up and into the corner. Beadle gets a hand on it. Again, maybe he could have done better. But Wigan, you're not going to care. You're 2-0 up, and this game was done and dusted. And Oxford, didn't have a sniff of a chance then after this one. And the only thing that really mattered was the fact that Wigan had chances to make it 3-0. And James Beadle had to make another couple of fine saves in injury time. Both of them from Stones. One from another counter-attack, funnily enough, where Marcus McGuane and Josh Murphy make a mistake and a mess of a free kick. More Murphy than McGuane. And Beadle had to bail them out, and then from the corner, Beadle had to then tip over a Stones header. So it could have been worse for Oxford United. A very, very poor performance. So that brings me to my final thoughts, and let's start with the home side, Wigan Athletic. I thought this was a very impressive performance from you guys. I saw the stats only for your win against Exeter, and it looked like it was a bit of a backs to the wall job, but I wouldn't say that was the case tonight at all. You caused problems for Oxford United every time you attacked us and went forward. I mean, the speed you had on the break was pretty frightening, I have to say, and the organisation that you had at the back just meant Oxford really struggled to get any meaningful chances away. We didn't really get in behind you, and it's all in all, it's a victory. 2 wins on the spin for you guys. You should enjoy this one. And above all else, just let me know your thoughts on the game, your thoughts on Shaun Maloney, because I thought he got his tactics spot on today, and your thoughts on how you think you're going to get on this season. And for Oxford United, a bad day at the office to say the least. We looked so poor in that second half that it looked like it was a pre-season game and the players were really not used to playing with each other. So many misplaced passes, so many poor touches, and just not really much idea of how we were going to score a goal. Harris looked really poor, but I would have liked to have seen Manning keep him on, actually, and try and see if him and O'Donker could have forced something with having 2 up top to do something different. When Murphy came on, but this was a little bit like the old Josh Murphy that we've seen, where he didn't really feel like he fancied it tonight and didn't really get into the game. And all in all, Oxford, for all the neat and tidy passing we did in front of Wigan, we never really got in behind them. And this was so much like that Cambridge game on the opening day of the season, where you just started looking at the side and thinking, above all else, where are the goals going to come from? And the answers to these questions Oxford need to find quite quickly. What do we do to a side that banks up quite deep and wants to hit us on the break? Because I would expect Wycombe to be quite similar when we play them at the weekend. We've seen it in the past, and I wouldn't expect that they're going to come to the Kassam Stadium all kind of open, playing attractive football. They're probably going to try and sit deep and try and hit us. Knowing Wycombe, it will probably be from a set piece. But yeah, the good thing, we got plenty of good experiences of this season to say this is just a blip, but it's a worrying blip of having 2 games now in a row we played poorly. This international break's really sort of kicked the stuffing out of Oxford a little bit, and we just need a little bit of energy back into the side. Don't really know what we can really do to change it too much for the weekend, and it's not so much what we can do, it's what will Manning do. I don't think he is going to change it too much. Maybe just bring Bowden back into the side is the only real thing. Obviously, if Brannigan is available, then he will be a big plus. But maybe a change in defence as well. Maybe Jordan Thornley can come back into the side. Maybe Finn Stevens back into the side as well. Who knows? But really, really disappointing day for Oxford United, where pretty much everybody was poor and guilty of being poor. Just because he seemed to be the only one that was able to turn on a bit of quality, you would have to say Marcus McGuane played okay. But well beaten, really, weren't we? So let me know, Oxford fans, let me know your thoughts down below. Wigan fans as well, let me know too. If you can hit like on this video, it helps me out so much. And again, if you do like the content, think about subscribing. I'll be back to do a review of the game against Wycombe Wanderers at the weekend, where hopefully Oxford can get a rare win against the Chairboys back to winning ways.